He exercised all the authority of the first beast on his behalf, and made the earth and its inhabitants worship the first beast, whose fatal wound had been healed. And he performed great and miraculous signs, even causing fire to come down from heaven to earth in the full view of men. So he's capable of doing that. He's capable of performing miracles in the sky. Fire and things falling down. Well, that's what you're seeing as a UFO. And that's what people are witnessing. Fire falling from the sky. So this is just, again, a little bit of coincidence. I don't know. There's a lot of coincidence that's happening here. But I just wanted to compare it. Okay, as I mentioned to you, Ephesians 5:11 says, have nothing to do with the fruitless deeds of darkness, but rather expose them. Okay, so here we have an alien gray. The terminology gray was not the terminology they used for this species in the service, but that's how we know them. There are small grays, and there are tall grays. Tall grays are very tall, 6 foot. I have had an experience with one personally. And if you're not familiar with them, they can be terrifying. They're huge. You can feel the evil protruding from them. And they're real. So many people have, believe me, I wouldn't be here making a fool of myself if I didn't experience this stuff, because, you'd think I was on coke too, But seriously, when I'm here to, I don't want to ruin my reputation, but I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't take drugs. I'm pretty straight-laced.
But this stuff could make you do that.
It could. It could. All right, now, back when I mentioned Genesis 6, a lot of churches tend to just pass over this scripture. And it goes like this. When human beings began to increase in number on the earth, and daughters were born to them, the sons of God saw that the daughters of humans were beautiful, and they married any of them they chose. Then the Lord said, my spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Their days will be 120 years old. Now let's take a look at this. A lot of people will dispute. Who were the sons of God? Some churches will say, that was the sons of Seth. Mm-hmm. Well, if it was the sons of Seth, it would have said the sons of Seth. But we also see the terminology, the sons of God, in the book of Job, when the sons of God presented themselves before Elohim, before Adonai, before God the Father, as you know him. That same terminology is used for angels, sons of God, angels. Saw that the daughters of human, number one, why would we have to distinguish, quote unquote, daughters of human if the sons of God were the sons of Seth? Think about that. Why would we have to even say that? Because Scripture is trying to distinguish that they're not the same. They're daughters of human and sons of God. They were beautiful, they married any of them they chose, and the Lord said, my spirit will not contend with humans forever, for they are mortal. Well, because the daughters of humans were mortal, but the sons of God weren't. So now, when these babies were born, they were part human and part fallen angel, which meant that they could live for a long time. Only Elohim said no. He said they're going to live for 120 years. And so Hashem wanted to put a stop to this, and the only way that he could do it is to send a flood. He had to get rid of this species, this group called the Nephilim, who, by the way, were huge. They were so huge, you're going to see when we look at this video, they were sometimes 32 feet. And they had 6 fingers and 6 toes. And they weren't just here at the time of Noah, they were also here afterwards. Because we saw when Joshua went up to the promised land, he said, hey, we look like grasshoppers compared to them. And what about Goliath? Goliath had 6 fingers and 6 toes. That's who, they were still around. And how were they around if the flood came and everyone was wiped out except Noah and his family? Okay, there's a few which we can't get into for that. Let's watch the book of Enoch here. And this is how the sons of God came onto through Mount Hermon. And by the way, not only did they let's see, where was I? What was I here? Is this it?
Hi.
No.
I'm your what?
I'm so sorry. I just had it. Where did I have it? I had to take this. Here we go. Okay, there we go. Can you hear it? What?
The Nephilim were a race of giants which once encompassed the entire earth. Today we know quite a bit about them. Archaeology has revealed the artifacts they had left behind. Their history is corroborated by the legends of virtually every culture of the world, including ancient literature, such as the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Book of Enoch, and the Bible. The Inuit Eskimo tribe knew them as the Tuniat. That very same tribe of giants was known to the Norse as the Skraeling. Many people of Western Asia and throughout Europe knew them as the Scythians, who had at one point bested Rome in battle and were said to have been so tall that their feet came close to the ground when sitting on a horse. The ancient Hebrews knew them as Amorites and Canaanites. Sumer is the oldest culture of the world, and the Sumerians give us a tremendous insight into the origin of the giants. The Sumerians recorded that the Anunnaki, a race of celestial beings, the children of Anak and Anu, came to the earth and fathered a race of men, who then became the kings of mortal men. But the Book of Enoch gives us even greater insight to the origin of these giants. Enoch recorded that during the life of Jared, sometime between 3550 and 2550 BC, the sons of God came to the earth from heaven. Since we know Satan is the father of all lies, it is likely that Satan himself influenced them to do the deeds they did. He had puffed them up and built their pride, and for this crime of pride against the Lord, they were cast out of the heavenly realm. Angered for being cast out of their heavenly home, and jealous of the beautiful new creation of God, they consorted to do ungodly things, and swore an oath unto each other that each would be equally culpable for the sinful things they were about to do. Their point of entry into the world was Mount Hermon, Israel, upon which they lived. Just as humans have special gifts and abilities, and each is unique, so too the angels were unique, and each used their own special gifts for defiling mankind. So each taught mankind the arts which they themselves loved most. They took wives of human women whom they called beautiful, and fathered the race of giants we know as the Nephilim. Azazel was a lover of metals, and taught men to make swords and knives and shields and breastplates, and made them known to the metals of the earth, and the art of working them, and bracelets and ornaments, and the use of antimony, and the beauty of the eyelids, and all manner of costly stones, and the coloring of tinctures. Semyaza taught the art of enchantments and group cuttings, and all manner of sexual seduction. Amaros taught the art of sexual lust. Barakijal taught astrology. Kokabel taught the constellations. Ezekiel taught the knowledge of the clouds. Arachiel taught the signs of the earth. Shamsiel taught the signs of the sun. And Sariel taught the course of the moon. Not only did the angels sin against man, but they sinned against animals as well. It is believed this means that they genetically engineered new kinds of creatures by mixing the genes of different kinds to create the mythological creatures of old. The corruption the angels had wrought upon the earth was so great that God decided to destroy both man and beast. So God commanded Noah, a man who was righteous and whose genes had not been affected by the work of the angels, to build an ark with which he would save the animals and mankind. But this was only half the story. The angels came and did their dirty deeds again, and created a second race of giants that filled the earth. This image depicts a Babylonian king, so large that he holds a lion in his arms like a man might hold a house cat. He also has 6 fingers and toes, which was common to some of the tribes of giants born after the flood, and is the result of a duplicate gene, an error, if you will, in the genetic tinkering of the Nephilim. There are a great many artifacts left behind by the Nephilim, including footprints, which have been found in several places around the world. Skeletons of humans exceeding 16 feet in height have been found in Native American burial mounds and other places around the world. King Og of the Bible had a bed which was iron and 16 feet in length. This is a bed for a man that is 12 to 14 feet tall. The Nephilim vary greatly in size. Many Native American legends tell of men which were 25 to 35 feet tall and capable of throwing a bison over their shoulder and walking off. Most of these artifacts have been swept up by the National Geographic Society, and most notably by the Smithsonian Institute, in an effort to hide the legitimacy of the Bible from the world. The angels cast out of heaven brought a technological explosion to the world. And likewise, their children, the Nephilim, also brought a technological explosion around the world after their walking flood. All within a couple of 100 years, great civilizations arose everywhere around the world. The Egyptians, the Chinese, the Sumerians, the Babylonians, the Mesopotamians, the Native American cultures, all arose approximately at the same time. This explosion of knowledge was due to the Nephilim, who acquired this great knowledge from their forefathers, the angels cast from heaven. And at that time, the Nephilim created monumental statues and buildings all around the world as well, carving stones weighing up to 3,000 tons with mathematical precision. Stones so heavy and large we are incapable of moving them with modern equipment to this very day. Many believe that the giant statuary all around the world and all of the cultures of the world is merely an exaggeration of the kingship. This is false, however. They are actual depictions of the true sizes of men. Native American statues, for example, often depict the angels, which were cast from heaven. same is true of Babylonia, Sumeria, Egypt, and other cultures. This modern example of a Native American totem pole depicts an angel casting hair, fathering the Nephilim child. This chart shows us the great size of ancient families. At the far left we see a normal man of 6 feet height, and at the far right a man of 36 feet in height. It also shows us how common the various giants were in their height. For example, it was most common for a giant to be approximately 15 to 16 feet tall. The next most common was approximately 8.5 feet, and so on to 36 feet. There is becoming a general consensus amongst historians that the most common tribe of giants in the world were the Kurgan. This statue in Russia depicts a Kurgan warrior approximately 25 feet tall. The Kurgan were the largest tribe of giants in the world. They originated in southern Russia and encompassed the entire world. The Kurgan have been genetically traced around the world with haplogroup X1 and haplogroup X2 genes. During World War II, the Nazis attempted to recreate the Kurgan by genetic engineering. There were giants in the earth in those days, and after that, as these Danish axioms clearly demonstrate, for it would take a man at least 15 to 20 feet tall to swing an axe with a head that weighs between 150 and 200 pounds.
Okay, so that is what the Nephilim are all about. And
I have a question.
oh, shucks.
So the sons of God were the fallen angels.
Yes, sounds good. Fallen angels, right? Yes. And so, now what you've just heard with the Nephilim and the hybrid race, now you're going to store that away because now you're familiar with what happened in Genesis. So now, when we hear about the alien agenda, we're hearing from people who aren't familiar with the Bible. And now we're going to listen to what these people are going to say about the aliens, and you're going to be able to correlate and see the comparison. Okay. As I mentioned to you, Book of Job, excuse me, angels are referred to as the sons of God. In Job, 1:6, it says, "Now there was a day when the sons of God came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan also came among them." So that Hebrew sons of God terminology is the same in Genesis as it is in Job. That's how we know sons of God are really angels. Okay, as we're going to pass over some of this. This is a great Return of the Nephilim from Chuck Missler. He has multiple videos in which he takes every book of the Bible and shows how this compares to the aliens and the UFO agenda in modern times. It's really interesting. We're not just talking about one or two scriptures. We're talking about scripture after scripture after scripture. As a matter of fact, if you miss Genesis 6, you miss the Bible. This is how powerful Genesis 6 really is. You miss the whole Bible. And once you acknowledge Genesis 6, everything you're going to pick up now, you're going to read a whole different Bible. It's going to mean something totally different than what you thought it meant previously. Okay, so here we have Satan, Prince, Power of the Air, Lord of those that fly. We talked about that, what Beelzebub means. Ephesians 2:1-2. As for you, you were dead in your transgressions and sins, in which you used to live when you followed the ways of this world and the ruler of the kingdom of the air. the spirit who is now at work in those who are disobedient. Okay. The ruler of the kingdom of the air. We kind of just pass over these things. But there are so many. Look at Ephesians 6:12. For our struggle is not against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the powers of this dark world, and against the spiritual forces of evil. Spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. Where did we say the heavenly realms were? Sure. First, second, third heaven. The atmosphere, the universe, where God dwells. So if we know that, where these 3 levels of heaven are, we're able to understand the scripture. Because it's not against, our struggles aren't against you and I, flesh and blood. It's not against that at all. It's against powers of this dark world, against spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly realms. So, just something to think about. Okay, so here it says, prophesy against Babylon. They come from far away lands, from the ends of the heavens. Where are the heavens? Atmosphere, universe, or God's dwelling place. They come from faraway lands, from the ends of the heavens, the Lord and the weapons of his wrath to destroy the whole country. Isaiah 13:5. Again, we're talking about space. Everything's happening in space, but we don't look at it that way. Okay, and there's a lot of things going see, I will make you small among the nations. You will be utterly despised. The pride of your heart has deceived you. You who live in the clefts of the rocks and make your home on the heights, who say to yourself, who can bring me down to the ground? Though you soar like an eagle. Who soars like an eagle?
Airplane.
Though you soar like an eagle and make your nest among the stars.
Space station.
From there I will bring you down, declares the Lord. Okay, so now we're looking at scripture in a whole different viewpoint, a whole different manner. Okay, let's see here. Jeremiah 4:16. Make ye mention to the nations, behold, publish against Jerusalem that watchers, remember I told you what they're coming here for? Watchers come from a far country and give out their voice against the cities of Judah. Just something to think about it. You know, something that just seems like this is too much. Okay, the Talmud. What is the Talmud? It's a vast collection of Jewish laws and traditions. Everything comes from Judaism, from the Torah. Everything. And so, let's take a look at what the Talmud has to say. Is this coincidental? I don't know. You decide. If the eye could perceive the demons that people the universe, existence would be impossible. The demons are more numerous than we are. They surround us on all sides like trenches dug around vineyards. Every one of us has 1,000 on his left hand and 10,000 on his right. The discomfort endured by those who attend rabbinical conferences comes from the demons mingling with men in these circumstances. Besides, the fatigue one feels in one's knees and walking comes from the demons that one knocks up against every step. If the clothing of the rabbis wear out so quickly, it is again because the demons rub up against them. Whoever wants to convince himself of their presence has only to surround his bed with sifted cinders, and the next morning he will see the imprints of cock's feet. Oh, what are cock's feet? Well, it's the foot of a rooster. Is this a coincidence? Well, why would that be posted? That's what your alien gray looks like. And as you could see, the alien gray really has no anatomical part. And the only way that they could really reproduce is genetically. It is actually taking a part of male and female reproduction system. abducting somebody and creating a race, a hybrid race. So, and as you can see in Enoch, the book of Enoch, they just didn't mess with humans. They messed with animals, which is where we get bestiality. They messed with reptiles. All of a sudden we're hearing about reptilians. It's an alien race that's half human and half reptile. Just something to think about. Okay, let's go on. All right. The Talmud has a lot of information about demonology. We talked about aliens are fond of water. We talked about the USOs. In the Talmud, there is a section, and really, if you haven't picked one up, you might want to get some Talmuds here. They would like that, because there's a great big section on nothing but demonology. They talk all about.
But is there an English version of the Talmud?
Oh yes, every man's Talmud.
Okay.
Yes, so you might want to carry some here. I'm sure a lot of people would be interested in getting that. Okay, so here's what it says. The same treaty goes on to give directions for seeing demons by burning portions of a black cat and placing the ashes in one's eyes. I don't recommend this, but then at once one perceives the demons. The Talmud also explains that devils particularly inhabit the water spouts on houses and are fond of drinking out of water jugs. So this way, what they advise you to do is to pour a little water out of the jug before drinking to get rid of the unclean part. As a matter of fact, if someone is having an issue, they go to bed at night. Usually they approach you at night. First thing people would ask is, do you have any water next to your bedstand? Do you have a cup of water? Do you have a bottled water? Because these demons are attracted to standing water. People who have wells, people who have swimming pools, people who, they're attracted to the water. Cup of water, glass of water. So whether or not you want to believe it, this is what the Talmud says. Now a lot of people go, oh, Talmud is just nothing but folklore. Wait a minute. These rabbis had to get this information from someplace. So I wouldn't just disregard it, lightly. Okay, so let's go a little bit down here. All right, here's another part. It says, according to Talmudic traditions, demons are spirits made in the Friday evening twilight who, because the Sabbath has intervened, have received no bodies. From this, later authorities drew the inference, which is perhaps implicit in the Talmudic sources, that demons have been looking for bodies ever since. Sounds like the aliens. And that this is why they attach themselves to men. Sometimes you have demon possession. This entered into a combination with another idea. After the murder of Abel by his brother, Adam decided to have no further dealings with his wife. Thereupon, female demons, I can't remember, it was Succubi, I think. That's right. Came to him and conceived by him from this union in which Adam's generative power was misused, so on and so forth. So, what is their aim? Being is to make themselves bodies from the lost seed. How about that? Okay. And we have more. Look at this. See the Zohar treatise. It says, all men are visited in their sleep by female devils. These demons never appeared under any other form but that of human beings. They have no hair on their heads. In the same way as to men, male devils appear in dreams to women with whom they have intercourse. And this is pretty common. I spoke with a lot of people, a lot of guys who have said, yes, I've had that experience. Now, so you say, well, how do I get rid of this if this is happening to me? Well, one thing that is so, and I'm not going to say it's simple because you have to really believe in it. You have to believe. Do not be afraid of the terror of demons who walk at night, of the arrow of the angel of death, that he looses during the day, of the death that walks in darkness, of the band of demons that attacked at noon. You will invoke the holy name. It's all about the name. 1,000 will fall at your left side and 10,000 at your right. They will not come near you to do you harm. It's the book of Psalms. Invoke the holy name. So we say, how come these people who are getting abducted and they're being confronted by these aliens and UFOs, why aren't they invoking the holy name? They will flee from you. Well, because some of these people aren't familiar with the Lord.
Okay, so there was an analogy or word phrasing earlier that used the same 1,000 will fall, or 1,000 on the left and 10,000 at the right. Are these two different, are these quotes from two different places, or are they from the same place?
Now, in the Talmud, there are many different stories, many different, like we have the Bible with different books of the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Talmud is similar to that with different, let's just say books, but they're a lot of different Hebrew names. So they're coming from all different versions of that. That's what this is. Similar to the Bible, but it's called the Talmud.
But do we know where the 1,000 on one side and 10,000 on the other side came from?
I personally don't. No, there may be a commentary, which if you wanted to get deep involved in that,
You can look it up on the internet.
So you
yes,
have to do
sure, you can do that, absolutely. But what do we see with Romans? Everyone who calls upon the name of the Lord will be saved. So we're seeing from a Jewish perspective, invoke the holy name. There's that name again. And Romans, the New Testament, is saying everyone who calls upon the name of the Lord will be saved. Now, it's so simple to say, well, all you have to do is call upon the name of Jesus, call upon the name of Yeshua, call upon the name of, I'm assuming the Talmud would mean Hashem, the Father. But there's that name again, that belief. And if you, as a matter of fact, on Channel 9 in Chicago, they tried to corner me. And the one newscaster said, if Jesus is so forgiving, will he forgive the aliens? Okay, so I wasn't going to go there because I knew this was a trap. And I said, I can't answer you that. But what I can tell you is what Scripture says, and that is all who call upon the name of the Lord will be saved. So let's not take that lightly. We do have an out if we believe in Jesus, if we believe in him as our Savior. But if we don't, you try to use his name, well, not much is going to happen. Okay, so now here's what I want you to listen to. Okay, now that you've known about Genesis, you're familiar with Enoch, you're familiar with the sons of God, you're familiar with the hybrid race, half human, half fallen angel. Right here you see a gentleman, wonderful man. I'm even friends with him on Facebook. His name is Clifford Stone.
Mm-hmm.
Sergeant Clifford Stone. Sergeant Stone was a sergeant in the Army, and he was chosen to work with the aliens. If you look him up on the internet, you will be able to see many different YouTube videos with him explaining what he experienced, and was he scared each time they approached him, each time they passed by? Yes, very scared. Even though he worked with them, even though he knew them, yes, he was scared. He felt frightened. So, let's go ahead. When Sergeant Stone was asked, could you tell us about the different types of aliens? He said yes. He says, but here's what he said. Okay.
Describe what they look like.
I could, but it would probably take a whole lot of time. The reason I state that, when I got out in 1989, we had cataloged 57 different species. You have individuals that look very much like you and myself that could walk among us and you wouldn't even notice the difference, except for some of the things that they might be able to go ahead, even in a dark room, and touch an object and go ahead and identify what color that object might be. They would have a heightened sense of smell, sight, hearing. The situation is that you have various types of what we normally call grays. We didn't call them grays in the military, but you had at least 3 types of the grays. You had some that were much taller than we were. The unique thing that I'd like to point out for the most part is that the entities that we did catalog were in fact humanoid. Now this created a situation where the scientific community was trying to figure out why that would be the case, because you would expect that if life evolved on other planets, that they would take on some type of other being, so to speak, not necessarily look humanoid or be bipedal such as we are. But apparently we got quite a few of the species out there that are humanoid in appearance, and that creates a question that yet has to be answered by science.
Yes, and as I call.
Okay, so they're humanoid, and they can't figure out why. Why are these beings humanoid? Okay, so we also read in Ecclesiastes, what has been will be again. There's nothing new under the sun. What's been done will be done again. And we know that Genesis 6 did happen. The hybrid race was created. And now we see these aliens coming. Now, this is great. These are the different types of species. I don't think that I have this, I don't think I have this recorded. And the funny thing is, I'm not able to record with this anymore. This was a great program before, but for some reason, it's not allowing you to record anymore. I guess now they want, you to get paid and this and that. So I don't have the aliens. War with Aliens, Dulcie Base, Unsealed Alien Civilization. I actually don't have this recorded. So, but when you get home, you will be able to see the different alien species, and you're going to see that they're very similar. Sometimes you wouldn't even know that they're sitting next to you. That's how real that's how similar. By the way, I want to tell you something too. The Anunnaki were a group of giants, as we heard, but there were also some species that were in Ohio. If you've heard of the Serpent Mound, there have been people who have dug up
Huge skulls.
yes, skeletons, skulls, and they did live within the Ohio Valley area. So if you are familiar, if you want to look up, oh gosh, his name is, that's another thing, you should get some of these books too, like Tom Horn, and there's Marzulli. He did a very long, detailed story on the giants in the Ohio Valley area. So they were around here. They were definitely around here. Okay, so we could see a lot of different, I've got a lot of different YouTube videos of Clifford Stone and what he viewed, what he saw. even the different, he even saw, he talks about when the spacecraft landed, there was a symbol under the spacecraft, and it was a hand with an eye in it. Well, studying about the Jewish, symbols and that, there is a hand with an eye called the Hamza. And this is recognized for like a good luck kind of. It's kind of like
Supposed to ward off the evil.
right, yeah. So I don't know. Could that have been a Hamza that was on the bottom of the spacecraft? I don't really know. So, but I just recognize that. Okay, these are the different alien races and the different types. Now this is according to Clifford Stone. Clifford Stone listed this. This goes on and on and on. And you could, there's quite a bit. So I'm just going to kind of pass this over here because we're going to go on and on with this. So, but you do have all of the different races and what their purposes, many of them, what they look like. Let me just.
So, my question is, anyone can go on the internet and find this information? Like a normal person that has
Sure.
an interest in
But the
this.
problem is, here's the problem, it's that you have to know the correct terminology for this.
Right.
So you'd have to know in order to look up, if you just typed in UFOs, you get like a million different pages.
Right.
But if you typed in Government Disclosure Project, okay, now we're talking about something different.
Right.
Now we're able to tie everything together.
Okay.
And there's also, if you go to YouTube, just type in Government Disclosure Project, and you could view, oh gosh, I think the video is like 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
There's one video that talks about where this certain Army or Air Force, I can't remember which it was, the UFOs that landed near the, where they have the radiation, where they have the missiles and the,
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
you know what I'm talking about? I can't remember where it is. I just kind of lost my.
Lots of places.
Yeah, they came down and actually disengaged the missiles.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
And so there's a whole video on that.
That was
Then
out
there's
west, yeah.
yes, and then there's another video on where the 400 men come up and just talk about their experiences they had in the military. That's a separate. Yeah, so
There's also a ley line right across the United States that most UFOs ships travel to different areas.
yeah, I know that the spacecrafts that did crash, that they were, from what I've read, they were transferred to the Air Force Base here in, yes,
Yeah.
yes. So this is an example. Now this is what someone snapped a picture of. This being, or this little whatever it was, looked like it was burned, and it was near the water faucet. And so it would constantly come, and the gentleman said, I don't know if the spacecraft took off and left the person here, the alien here, this being here. But yeah, he was constantly, every day, just trying to get water. So, yeah, there's, let's see here, I'm just going to kind of pass over some of this. A lot of good information in your CD. Yeah, there's a lot of fake pictures,
Right.
alien autopsy, so we don't want to get, confused
Right.
in that, because a lot of people just want in on the action. The tall whites, this was, these are exactly what they're called, tall white people. They have a white skin, white hair, and they will talk to you like they're a human being. That's exactly what they are. They call them the tall whites.
Yeah, there's ones out in California too, in the mountains. I forget which mountain range.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's see here. Well, just recently, when the Ohio Supreme Court passed the rule that two people could get married, the two same sex, they also lifted the ban on being able to marry your dog or and have relations with your animals. Now, back in 2011, the Ohio senator proposed a ban on animal-human hybrid. So, I mean, these are just things I'm pointing out here. Here's Mutual UFO Network. You could find information about stories and, okay, and what do you do if you see a UFO? Unless you want to be abducted and you want them to implant things in you, and go outside and look. But if you don't, stay away from the window.
There seems to be a plethora of that too up along Lake Michigan. People who live in houses up by the lake with the USOs.
Sure.
And them coming out and trying to come into people's houses and stuff. So
Lake Erie too. My daughter gets calls. She works with the police department. She gets calls. People, with UFOs. So yeah, she's a dispatcher. Local.
Arnold.
So yeah. So okay. So my experience. What in the heck? How did I get involved in this? What happened to me? Well, when I was a kid, I'm 61 now. I was 17 years old at the time. And I took a ride on a motorcycle. I was on the back of a motorcycle and I fell off. And a Greyhound bus was right behind. I fell off the bike. I went under the Greyhound bus. I saw myself looking up. Yeah, it was like a muffler or a gas. I'm not sure what it was. It was something huge. I do not remember anything after that, but I do remember something very gently laying me down on the side of the grass. I reclined. When I was let down gently, my elbows, I was like in an upright position. Two little African American boys came up to me and said, "Lady, how did you do that?" I said, "Do what?" They said, "You flew in the air. How did you do that?" I have no recollection of that. I have no idea. I broke my hip and femur. I was in the hospital 2 months. I had a 24-hour operation with 22 pints of blood. It was at that time I realized that I did not have my parents' blood. My parents couldn't give me blood. Do I look like anyone in my family? No.
Was this the moment where you're like, oh yeah, you're adopted, or?
No, my mother, when she was living, swear, you are my daughter. I looked online. I tried to get there's like a little blood calculator. I have both of my parents' cards from when they would donate blood. And I put my mom's blood in, my dad's blood in, and it said, and my blood in, absolutely impossible. There's no way you could be the child. Okay, well, so before my brother died, I went into the coffin. I reached into the coffin and I clipped some of his hair. One day when I get a little bit of money, maybe I'll see if I can get a DNA. He would never give me DNA.
Really?
Yeah, never.
Was he the older brother?
I only have one brother, yeah. Yeah, older brother. He'd say, "No, you're my sister, and that's all that matters." Now, something that's even weirder. Yeah, I have. Yeah. I have a. Let's see. I have the rare blood. Oh, negative. My parents had positive.
Wow.
My mom had AB positive, and my dad had B positive. So. Anyway, so what happened is I went to ICU the night of the accident where I died. I went through the tunnel like everybody talks about. My experience was a little bit different than from what other people experienced. It was late at night, 12 p.m., dark outside, like now. I was in intense pain. The pain was beyond explanation. It was so intense. And I truly believe that once your body gets to that point, that's it. It shuts down. It can't take any more pain. What they do is when you come into the hospital when you have a broken femur, they will take your leg and actually make a hole with a nail through your knee. And they do this quickly. They don't put you under, they put the nail through, they lift your leg up, and they put you in traction so that your femur will not, your femur is not going, they stretch it.
Right.
So you're not going to have limp later on. Okay, the pain's intense. So, that hurt. That was smart.
Just thinking about it.
And
You already got that.
yeah.
I would pick the leg now.
So what ended up is my body went into a fetal position. My hands were tucked under my chin, my knees came up, and I began to roll forward through this tunnel. But although I was rolling, I was gliding. Saw the end of the light at the tunnel. I went through it. Where did I end up? In the sky. It was daylight. I was overlooking countryside. That's what the tunnel looked like. Of course, not the actual picture, but it was more dark along the sides and light at the end of the tunnel. So I found myself in the sky overlooking a farm. And as I looked around, I thought, okay, all my pain was gone. Didn't have any pain anymore. And I wanted to see what my body looked like. So I did one of these to look down, and it was air. I didn't have a body. So I thought, okay, I'm close to the sun. Now remember, and this was before I went to Bible college, I wasn't familiar with Bible. Where's the first heaven? It's the atmosphere. Okay, so that makes sense. That corresponds with what the Bible says. And here I was just flying in the air, overlooking this countryside. When I freaked out and I went, oh my gosh, I'm the only one here. Where's all the people? The minute I felt scared, I felt something like grab me, which I couldn't feel the grab, crunch me back up in that position, and then flip me through the tunnel back again, where now I was going backwards, gliding, jerking inside my bed at the hospital, seeing the people over me, and again, did it again. Back into the fetal position, rolling halfway, being shoved back, going, and where I then opened my eyes, and I stayed on the earth. Why did the Lord spare me? I don't know, to this day. I don't know. And I asked him, to this day, 61 years old, why did you spare me? Am I to do something for you? Have I not accomplished my purpose in life? But I tell this story, I have told it since I've been 17 years old, and I will tell you, that was my experience with the tunnel. Did I see myself over the bed, dead? No. I didn't experience anything like that. But what I did start experiencing, I started to see spirits. It was after that, I had my daughter. My daughter was, 3 days, 6 days old, something like that. I was living in Garfield Heights at the time. I was in my bed, sitting at the edge of my bed, when I looked through the doorway. Now my daughter, who's a baby of course, was in her bedroom. And I looked at the doorway, and there in the doorway was this woman, older woman, like an Indian woman. She had blue eyes that seemed to have gone on forever. She had white hair that was braided and went up the back of her head. She had long sheets, like, of pieces of cloth. She was not wearing any shoes. She was floating on a cloud that was maybe about this far from the ground. And she floated into the room, and she looked at me, and she went like this. That was it. And she turned around, and she floated back into the hallway. Well, when I saw her, she paralyzed me. All I could see was the tunnel vision. I could see nothing around. It was just a total incomplete focus, eye-to-eye contact, and I couldn't move. I was totally paralyzed. So, my friend, who was an artist, I sat down with him one day, and I said, please, would you draw this image of this woman up so I could show other people? And he did.
Wow.
This is what the woman looked like, but she was older. If we did a little bit more older, it starts to change, and she doesn't look like this anymore. So this is the closest I could get to tell you what this woman looked like. The first thing that I was told was the Anunnaki were here in Ohio. They were a lot of something to do with the Indian people, that the Indians were very close to them. I don't know who she is. To this day, I don't know. But what I do know is she wasn't finished with us yet. Now, my daughter was small, baby. She couldn't remember anything. What happened is one day, when my daughter was in high school. She was it high school? No, she was in high school, yeah. That's the next story. She was in grade school. She was graduating from 8th grade. But what happened is she was outside cutting the grass. I left to go buy food for the party, and when I came back, she was crying. And I said, Gina, what's wrong? She said, Mom, I think I'm going crazy. She says, I was cutting the grass, a big wind came, blew all the garbage bags out, and all of a sudden this woman appeared. And she was an Indian woman, and she had white hair, and she had her hair in a braid in the back with blue eyes. No. And I'm like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So she said, this big wind came, blew all the garbage bags around. She picked all the garbage bags up, folded them, smiled at me, and she left. I said, okay. Well, I knew what I experienced when she was a baby. Okay, so it wasn't over yet. Now my daughter's in high school. Oh, not going to go there yet. And as my daughter was in high school, she had a band party. 60 kids were over. They were upstairs, downstairs, and all of a sudden, these kids come in crying, I want to go home. They were in the backyard. It was dark like this. The woman appeared to them. All of them. They came in hysterical. Mom, pick me up, pick me up. What did you see? We saw a ghost. They are now 42 years old almost. I asked them, what did you see in the back of my yard? We saw a ghost. A woman who appeared to us.
Multiple people.
3 times she appeared, yes. And there were so many people who saw her. My daughter comes in crying, Mom, she's back again. I said, honey, I don't know what she wants. I don't know who she is. I have no idea. But there's nothing I can do. I have no control over her. The house on Bar Road that I lived in experienced a lot of activity with lightning. Lightning coming directly into the home. Constant coming into the home. It got to the point where I'd sip coffee And, that'd be it. Okay, it's lightning again, big deal, whatever. I mean, that's how constant it was. And I could tell you story after story. Another story that I do wanted to tell you that is in the CD is about the experience I had with the fire. Back on Bar Road, it was Easter time. I was making these panoramic sugared eggs at the table. And what happened is, I shouldn't have been doing this, but I did it. I was talking to Satan. I was trying to get Satan to repent of his sins. Thinking that I was smart, that I could trick Satan, and I was actually having a conversation with him, thinking that
Out loud.
yes. Well, all of a sudden, I remember saying to Satan, look, if you just apologize, you'll prove the Bible wrong. It was at that point in time where I heard crackling in the backyard. I walked over to the window, I opened up the vertical blinds that I had, and my entire backyard was on fire. Ran outside, screaming, because I recognized that the fire was heading to my neighbor's house. And I was screaming for him to get out of the house. All the dogs started barking all the way down the street when I heard, Peggy. And I turned around and I said, yes. I said, what's wrong? I said, well, there's a fire. And the fire said, it's okay. And I said, do you want me to go inside and cancel the 911 call? And the fire said yes. Okay, felt comforted. Walked inside, picked the phone up. I just called you about 911. I'd like to cancel the call. He said, the dispatcher goes, do you still have a fire? Looked out the back. I said, uh-huh, still there. And she goes, we're on our way. I'm like, oh, man, okay. So I get outside. Fire trucks come. Fireman comes. They pulling this, and they're running, and my neighbor's out at the time. And he said, Peggy, he goes, where's the fire? I said, well, it's right over. No fire. He goes, are you okay? I said, now this time the fireman, he's taking his flashlight, he's shining it on, there's no fire marks. And my neighbor goes, look, why don't we just consider this a test to see how quick you can get here? He goes, man, there's a fine for calling 911 when you don't have an emergency. And I'm like, I didn't know what to say. And he goes, it's okay. We're not going to fine you this time. All right. I go inside, you're kind of like just scratching your head like, what was that all about? Well, a couple months later, talking to my neighbor, I said, hey, John, what happened to the guy who used to live in the back of you? He goes, oh, him? He became a traveling preacher. He sold everything he had and took to the road. What? He goes, yeah, he saw you talking to the fire and the fire talking to you. I'm like, cha-ching! I wasn't crazy.
Did your neighbor see the fire?
My
The one
neighbor
you
John?
talked to? Yeah, no.
Just the guy behind him, he was outside. And he saw our conversation with the fire and I talking. That was enough to wake him up.
Wow.
Sold his house, sold everything, became a traveling preacher. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. I just go with the flow of things. I don't have Am I trying to be a Moses? No. No, absolutely not. I'm just telling you some things could appear. Okay, there's a lot of things that are going on here that we have to be very careful of. You know, we see things on television, we see different, I don't remember I don't watch television, but there used to be a program where you would go there and the guy would say, well, there's your grandmother who's over there, and somebody in the room has a...
John Edward.
Right, yes, and that was very popular. There were quite a few. But these are just some pieces of information here. We've got Satan who's walking around as an angel of light. He could appear anywhere. He could appear to make it look like it's somebody who's good, who's kind, you could be totally confused. So I've included some YouTube videos for you to watch, and we just need to be careful. We need to be careful with what we're watching, and what someone's trying to pull over us, because sometimes it isn't what it seems. Okay, so
Before you go on, I have a question.
Oh, sure.
I saw as you were rolling through that a while ago about zombies. What was that?
Zombies are different, from what I'm told, a different type of alien.
So there are zombies.
Apparently so.
What these kids are watching on TV, not kids, some adults too, I guess, but like that could happen.
These things that are appearing on television are actually, these people are getting this information
Right.
from outside sources. So
How about a lot of our movies like that?
yes,
You
and
know-
do you know what the purpose is? It's to break you in,
Yes.
to get you used to, accustomed to. So now when these beings are going to be revealed, you're going to be used to seeing that on television. You're going to say, oh, I remember that. That's what they want you to do. They want to break you in. They want to make you feel comfortable with them. Because let's face it, if an alien gray appeared, you'd freak out. You'd have a heart attack. You would die. So they have to get you accustomed to this outer space thing. And they have been for years.
Yeah, like the E.T. movies and all that.
Absolutely. E.T. and
It
they,
came out like a few years ago with a little tiny robot and that was an alien.
there you go. Yes.
It's a really good movie.
Yes,
Bad,
see,
good.
and they make it look, they want you to enjoy this. They want you to like them. So when the kids are coming out, McDonald's, who's this guy, this green guy who is a monster, great big huge giant monster,
I don't want
Tresh or something, what's his name?
Trek.
Trek, yes. Okay, they want kids to like that. So they're breaking
they
in.
look like the amphibians, kind of.
Yes.
The reptilians.
Yes, and actually, this has gone way back from trying to break the people and getting them used to. We're talking about My Favorite Martian, or Lost in Space, or Star Trek.
Geez, Buck Rogers started it.
Yeah, I mean, there's all kind of things going, but yeah, all these people are releasing the UFO files. All countries, New Zealand, as a matter of fact, India. There's.
Well, my NASA connection says, look at it this way. They know they can't protect anyone from it. So,
Yeah,
The government.
here, another video you could watch. It's the Canadian minister from Canada
oh, yeah.
who came out and said, what was that?
I remember this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, talking about the UFOs and the releasing of their files and.
Do you have a picture of Balfour?
I have, and Russia and so on and so forth. Okay, so here's Valthor.
Yeah.
There he is, right here. So he is the Venusian that has that came from Venus, and he told us a lot, gave us a lot of information, and I was very fortunate to, well, when Valthor was at the Pentagon, he was here for 3 years. The Pentagon called a Dr. Frank Stranges, Now, Dr. Stranges worked with Velthor and spoke with him in the Pentagon, and they worked together as a team. Dr. Stranges has since passed away, but his wife is still living. And I was very blessed to have gotten in contact with her, where we communicated through email, and she sent me this huge box of all kinds of information with her husband's personal knowledge. When I opened this box, I thought, are you kidding me? I'll never read this stuff. I have the actual symbols of what is on each spacecraft and how to tell where each spacecraft is from. I have the actual dimensions and the UFO. I have the inside, the drawing of the levels. There are 3 levels of the UFO where Velthor came, and the name of his spacecraft, how many spacecrafts were out and where they're located. I mean, I told Mona if we wanted to have a class on that,
I think it's fascinating.
if you're interested. So anyway, okay, I am done. I'm probably over. I don't know what time it is.
No, you're not over yet.
I'm not over? Oh, good.
3 minutes.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, great, excellent.
Now, I know there's a lot of reports in Parma and that for UFOs. But I don't think people are aware of like the Dulce, New Mexico thing.
Right.
And all that.
Isn't that one place where there's like every year there's this like UFO sightings and it's like there's the big mass gatherings of people
No,
who
this
go
is
to watch
not.
them?
Well, no, that's a different place.
You could take one of each and pass it down. I think I brought 5. I didn't know that we were going to have more. 1, 2,
Okay.
3, 4, 5. Now these, you can open them up. They're not magic. They're not. These are some things that I felt led by the Lord to create. I create Hebrew rocks, and so again, all who call upon the name of the Lord will be saved. You can do as you please with it.
I'm like so freaked out right now. I told Mona, so much stuff has happened in my life.
She's
now.
had some experiences similar to yours.
Okay.
I had I don't even know how I ended up in Ohio. I was from Pennsylvania originally. I married someone, but the pastor at my church used to come and talk to us about the end times. And it was so interesting, and you couldn't, like, I would always want him to come over. He'd come when I'd have birthday parties for my kids, and after everybody left, he would talk to the adults. Well, that only went a couple times, because then my family thought I was crazy, and him too. But, he met this woman who he was a spiritual advisor for, because she was receiving messages from Christ. And so he had
Showing
to
off my
prove
rock.
if they were legit or not. So he saw her for
Basically.
a few years. Strange things would happen to her. Like she would be in her house and then she'd be out in the middle of the street, and different things like that. So, like he told me a lot of stuff about her. So many, the stuff that he told me was a lot of the stuff that you're sort of explaining here too. But then he said that this woman passed away, and this was years after, while he was doing all of this with her. She passed away, and on her deathbed she said to him, "Do not rule out aliens." And he told me that. And then he died. He was young. He was in his 40s, and he died. And all I keep doing is being like, why did you tell me that? Why would you say that? And when I used to come here and help Mona with the store, and we used to talk a lot, and I would tell her that there's a lot of things that I see in the Bible that make me question, was God an alien type of thing? And only because of how Blessed Mother got pregnant, and the Immaculate Conception, the fires burning in the skies, a lot of the stuff that I read in the Bible, and I said, you know, I don't care if God's an alien, if he's supposed to be an alien, and that's how it is, but it still is like a little bizarre, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
And that's the mystery about it. Because we're humans, our mind isn't capable of going beyond humanity. You know, this alien fallen angel stuff is hard to grasp,
Yeah.
right?
Mhm.
This is hard to do. As far as God being an alien, he is the supreme being. He is the Almighty. He's the one who created things out of nothing. The rock you're holding is actually a creation he created from nothing. And it's amazing that everything in the world, the
Right.
grass, the
And how
everything,
intricate
tree,
everything
oh,
is.
absolutely.
Your bodies,
Absolutely. But I understand what you're saying. Could we say God is an alien? He's beyond, anything is alien that to us who isn't, that isn't human. But I think that we need to probably not classify him as quote unquote alien, but the supreme being, the Almighty, the
that's what,
everlasting.
like, I get nervous sometimes because I believe we are in end times, and this election and all of this stuff that's been happening. And I keep, like, I went to confession actually this past Saturday because I was like,
I'm
I
proud
get
of you.
upset of myself for
Yeah.
thinking stuff like that, you know?
No, it's just human.
And I didn't say that to the priest, but that was one of all of my sins that I didn't commit. I mean, that I can't remember type of thing, because you think you're crazy, you know? But this priest had so much influence on me. When he died, I cried harder for him than I did my own father when my father passed away.
I can understand that. Sure. I had a priest friend too.
And the son who is,
I love this guy.
he sees things before they happen. He's blonde, he's white hair, blue eyes, and I'm serious, watching this, I'm like freaking out. And when he was little, they told me that he had albinism. And if he was any lighter, he would have to, be kept out of the sun. And he's got allergies to things and stuff. And I don't know if any of you remember this, but remember the Independence incident where the firework killed a girl?
Yes.
My son was 10 years old, I want to say, and we were in Garfield Heights. I lived in Garfield Heights. A lot of weird stuff happened up there, too.
Garfield Heights is weird.
Yeah, and we were at the Garfield Heights 4th of July, and I remember someone telling me to go down to Independence, because I'm not from here originally, so I don't know where a lot of stuff was when But anyways, they told me to go down there and you could sit in the field and watch the fireworks, and I was so excited because I wanted my kids to see that, and so I told my kids we were going there. My son immediately starts crying, and I'm like, what's the matter? And he goes, I don't want to go, I can't go in that field, and I'm like, what are you talking about? He's like, I just can't go, and I'm like, we're not going to go in the field, we'll get popcorn and we'll get something to drink, and we'll sit on the sidewalk on the street, because I'm sure you can see them from there. That's what we did. He quit crying, we got in the car, he made me reassure him that I was not taking him in that field, and I said, we're not going in the field. We sat on the street, and there were a bunch of people on the street on 21 watching these fireworks, and all of a sudden there was that boom, and my son stood up and was screaming and running around. People must have thought we were crazy, and I'm going, Scott, what's the matter with you? And he's like, somebody got hit by something. He goes, there's somebody got hit by a firework, their hair's on fire, I could smell it, and I was like, oh my God. I'm like, that's not a fire down there. I go, I'm sorry. I go, they're just doing ground displays. Then here comes the helicopter. Like, we were there for the whole thing, and it was so bad I had to take my son to the priest that I was telling you about, because he blamed himself for not warning somebody that was going to happen, because he knew it was going to happen. And, like, that freaks me out. And the priest had told him, someone is giving you information, maybe your guardian angel or whatever. When you get information like that and they say, don't go there. And he told me, and don't take him there. He said if he ever tells you don't go, if you're gonna go to PA and he says, Mom, we can't go, don't go. Don't even ask him why, just don't go.
Sure.
You know, but it's just freaky. Like I just am freaky, like,
And you're more freaked out now?
yes. Well, that picture of that Indian lady that you showed, come on.
Yeah.
Like my son is, my kid, he doesn't look anything like me. Like he's just pure white.
He's a very nice.
He's
a sweet guy.
and he's gorgeous, and he's a very nice guy, and he's very spiritual. And if he knew I was talking about him or not, he would hate me. He did want
He
to come
probably
tonight.
does know.
Because, well, yeah, well, this is
Yes,
what
probably were.
interests him, and he wanted to come
Why didn't he come?
because he has his own business, and he's been really busy. So
Okay.
he's told me, he said, Timon, I'm sorry, you know. I'm like so excited to get this and go home and sit with him, and
Well, we can do
How old is he?
Wait, I have it
he's
online.
30 now.
Okay, so it's like on the end of like the indigo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, the end of the-
Yeah.
But-
Well, might be an
What-
indigo child.
What does that mean?
It's a spirit or a soul that came from another planet, supposedly, and it manifested inside children that were born like in the 60s through the early 70s.
Seriously?
Yep.
Apparently he's one too. He doesn't believe it though.
I'm a skeptic, so.
Are you two related?
Yes, I'm his daughter.
I'm his other daughter.
Oh. And who are you in all of this?
He's a ghost hunter
Oh, you're just a ghost hunter?
He's a friend and he
and
gets
a psychic.
He's here
I'm
for
not his son.
he's a good friend.
Brother Shady.
Oh, don't even go there.
How old did you say it was the end? was
Indigo.
the-
Indigo. Like to call it indigo.
Well, I just have one question in formalities. I get
Maybe you're gonna kill him.
Planetary Action Organization.
Bathroom situation's gonna get really weird at home.
Organization talks about
Good thing we have 3 of them.
fifth dimension, you know, from the planets coming down. And some of the stuff they talk about is like ascension. Well, to me, if you're ascending,
Yeah.
it means you're dead. Kind of. You know what I mean? Sure.
Wait,
So
wait,
I'm not
wait.
sure what to do with all this
Lay
stuff
down.
that I get.
Down further. There you go.
Well, and that's a good question. What I think. Sure.
No,
Uh,
no.
What I think what you have to do is
You put a
wear
belt on.
I have like a third like eye for this thing, okay?
Is
And I want to keep that eye
scripture
clean.
related?
Mm-hmm.
If it is,
They're children.
okay, then we have something
Not
because
what you speak of.
that's how when God left, when Yeshua left, He gave us some manual. So in the Bible, which
Well, they do talk about God. You know, they talk about Jesus and Mary and everything in it, but it does talk about us as a planet preparing for ascension. So I'm just kind of like,
We have to do this again because now I have people that I want to come here that are like,
I have to talk to a few people and see if they're gonna be interested.
I think it's.
I have classmates who might be interested.
how old are you?
I'm 19. I'm going to college.
Believe it or not.
are you? She's
Yeah,
like,
doesn't
you were
look
like
19,
13. I
does
was
she?
thinking, wow, she's really smart.
How old do you
for
think
her
she
age.
is?
Like maybe 19.
I'm 26.
Are you? Almost 27.
Oh, that's good. You'll like that as you get
I
older.
thought you were about 12.
Yeah.
That's why I was freaking out over is there gonna be like some sort of test after this? Because I'm not ready for this stuff.
No.
It was great. We were at something this weekend and somebody thought I was 15 and I was just like, oh no, it was yesterday when we were voting. The lady giving out the stickers, she was just like, you shouldn't have been able to vote. You're like 15 or something. And I was just like, no, I'm 26.
Well,
Oh my
actually,
gosh.
you know, that's very good because later on when you
Yeah.
get older,
Like when you're in your 60s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're our age and you're
exactly, no one's going to be able to tell
I
how
can't
old
wait to
you
get
are.
my mom got carded when she was in her 40s, so I mean
I'll never forget the time I got carded when I was in my 20s and I went, I was so mad, and my mother looked at me and said, "Don't be mad, be glad." Because when you get old, they'll still
Now you
think
beg them,
younger.
can you
That's
just call
right.
me and make me feel good?
I did that one time.
That's right.
Thank you.
Yes. Did you learn anything you didn't know?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
When you started talking about the scriptures and stuff, now, the classes that you took, their Bible was not the same as the Catholic Bible.
No.
But-
right.
Yes, it is.
Well,
The scriptures, numbers and everything?
Sure.
Oh, really?
Sure.
Okay.
Absolutely. You could go to pick up your probably American Standard Version is what you have as Catholic.
I happen to have one in the back.
Sure.
I have one.
And you can pick it up and see the same scripture. The only difference is there are a couple of books of the Bible, like you don't have Revelation in, you have the Apocalypse.
And
Right.
you don't have,
And-
isn't it Enoch is
We don't
part
have
of the
Enoch
lost
either.
books of the
Yeah.
Bible?
Right, no,
That's
Enoch
what
isn't
it
in any of the
Because I
Bible.
remember you telling me Enoch, and I started looking it up online, and I was like,
But,
Enoch is Lord of the Dead Sea Scrolls, isn't it?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
You know, you can probably get it off of Barnes and Nobles. They have everything under the sun.
Well, yeah,
That's like
I
related
realize
to,
that,
like,
but I'm gonna
New
get
Spirit,
like
New Age.
maybe English version of Talmud
Sure.
and that, you know.
Yeah, I really
Yeah,
think they
but
would.
next time, if you get those in, by the time the next time we're in, let me know. Let us
Okay.
know. Please.
Okay.
when you sat there and said you don't know what your purpose is here, or why he put you back here, this is why, because I believe this is happening very soon. Something's gonna happen. I didn't think the election was even gonna take place, remember?
Right.
I told you before the election happened, something's gonna happen,
I had a-
because too much stuff is corresponding with the Bible, you know?
I had a running joke with my friends, but it was like made on a like I went outside one day to catch the bus, and it just the smell of the air made me feel like that was the day the world was going to end. And for all I know, this is an alternate reality. This is just the Mandela effect. But like we've had this running joke since then that the world's going to end before something happens. Like the Indians didn't win the World Series. I had a poll going, and it was who's gonna win. The Indians, the Cubs, or is the world going to end before the World Series is over? And I had the same thing going on with this election. And
Well, just
like,
those two teams playing in the World Series should have been the end of the world.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So, like, for all we know, this is like the 20-something millionth dimension alternate reality, and this is all just a cause of the Mandela effect.
Well, I think what's amazing for me is, and when she started doing the classes here, was as much as I thought I knew about the Bible, I feel like I didn't know jack squat.
And it was talking and saying that, then I'm looking like, oh my gosh, and I wanted to go home. I was gonna say, I have to go home because I wanna go to my Bible and look in Apocalypse, because
Yeah.
now that stuff will make sense to me.
Right,
You know,
right,
because you,
right.
Yes.
Well, I know it's
So I guess
interesting reading.
girlfriend will be doing some more classes.
Sounds good to me. Sounds good to
Because
me.
she starts teaching again when in January.
The end of January, my classes start back up.
Okay.
What are you teaching at?
Well, I teach at Cuyahoga Valley, adult education, the Valley Forge High School. I'm teaching at North Ridgeville Rec Center.
Wow.
what are you
Aurora.
teaching there? Not about aliens, are you?
I used to teach, yes, until they got whiff of the paper. I will have some classes, yes, sometimes at North Ridgeville, but not all the time.
Mhm.
That is a little more lenient because it isn't a school system. I used to teach at the Perma. Yes, they since then, not too much of an interest, so they don't. Yeah, well,
Get on the horn.
Garfield Heights probably has a really big interest in it, though.
Garfield Tyson. I don't
I
know.
don't know, it
There's
depends
a
on the area.
Yeah,
Some people, see, the thing is, you run smack up against people's religions. And
Yes.
it's just like with everything else, people fear what they don't understand.
correct.
And so consequently, they won't even sometimes get their toe wet in a subject if they think it goes against, they're being blasphemous, so to speak. So,
Exactly. And sometimes, people say, oh, you're taking that out of context. You're taking it, well, okay,
they said that about Trump too.
so yes,
It's true.
You start to look at things a lot differently.
Mhm.
And there's so many preachers on YouTube, as I mentioned. You could sit and he will take the Bible apart and talk and tell you, yes, these UFOs are definitely, you know.
When you look at some of the stuff from, you know, like the drawings and things from back in the day, and you know, when there were cavemen and stuff,
Oh, yes.
how could you say that there weren't? I mean,
Right.
that they drew them there. You could
Right
see
on the
them.
walls,
Well,
like
the
caves.
thing that gets me the most is all the civilizations all over the world. They had no contact with each other,
Right.
but a lot of their
now-
art was very similar. You can tell the Aztec drawings versus Egyptian drawings, but there were some similarities in the size of the people, the elongated skulls, the bigger
Right.
heads, you know, the long spindly fingers. You know, those are common themes in all of these different,
Yes.
you know, cultures.
That's what I said. And like in Africa, they never heard about some of this stuff, you know. But yet you see drawings, they've seen things that we see over here or in England or Germany or wherever. So
Yes.
we're not all ignorant.
You know, and then, you know, you brought it up, and there are these, you know, large mammoth rocks that were carved and weigh 300,000 tons.
To a micro
You-
second.
Yeah,
of
and you
a-
know, whether you're talking the pyramids
Sure.
in Egypt
Right.
or, you know, the Aztec pyramids or Stonehenge or Easter Island.
And whenever like different places throughout the world, the ancient civilizations, they would have common events within them, like the Great Floods.
Exactly.
And
Right.
and they also had, you know, I'm not saying dragons, but dragons.
Dragons.
And you know, what did they all do? They also all flew. And you know, that's also something else. And like, you know, for we do a podcast, and so I do a lot of research into this stuff, and that is something that a lot of these documentaries and stuff leave out is dragons flying. I'm like the Aztec dragons, Oriental dragons, you know, stemming from both China, Korea, Japan, you know, going down through Tibet and all of them. They all had wingless flying dragons, and why do they all have wingless flying dragons? I mean, cigar-shaped craft.
Yes. And, you know, if you ever have a chance and you want to read up on the Epic of Gilgamesh, the Epic of Gilgamesh is a story about a giant. And again, relating back to the Nephilim. They used to eat people. What? They were so bad. And this Epic of Gilgamesh, that's exactly what they used to do. And when God saw they were eating each other, you know, he had to put some rules down. He's like, no, you can't do this. This is not. I was going to say kosher, but you're right. Exactly.
Wow.
Exactly. Yeah, they were eating one another. So, we've got, when the flood came, okay, well, the body was, destroyed in the flood, but the spirit still remained.
Right.
And so, now we have these beings that are flying around, spirits that are flying around and tricking everybody and giving you information that really isn't there, just to psych you out and just to, watch and go, oh, look at that fool. I remember I had a student. He said, I love going to these, where would he go? These mansions. And he would go to the prison. What was the prison?
Mansfield.
Yeah, he says, I go in there and they rip my camera and they smack me around. I love it.
It sounds like a true ghost hunter.
Okay then. I love when they take my camera and throw my camera on the ground and smack me around. I'm like, well, if that's your
God
thing.
bless you. That's what I say.
That's what you want to do. It's
Till you've been smacked by one, that
yes.
you have first-hand experience.
Well,
of
let's
that.
hear about you, Mr. Quiet, there in the all the way at the end of the table.
John.
Let's hear your stories.
Oh, I got
It was a Mansfield, right?
I got shot pretty well at Mansfield.
Did you really? What happened?
And then my buddy got slammed in the chest down there too.
He's got pictures.
Oh wow.
So
Doesn't that scare you when you leave that they're going to be with you when you go home?
there's that question.
And
same thing I tell everybody.
But the
Same thing I
yep.
tell everybody.
Mm.
Just because you're going to places like that, you've gone to funerals, you've gone to
Sure.
anywhere.
Grocery
Well, when I
stores.
go to funerals
If
now, I
there's
have
something there
a really bizarre
if
thing. I
there's
didn't even
something
go somewhere
there
else before I go home. It's
that
true,
that
it's
is
true.
attracted to your energies,
Yes.
It's
doesn't matter
awesome.
where you're at.
If truth
You
be
could be
told,
sitting right here. If something here that's attracted to your energy, doesn't matter where you're at.
truth be told, you have an average of 30 to 40 spirits in your house at any given time or around you.
It's like the 8 spiders in the room theory.
Mm-hmm.
And 200 ninjas.
200 ninjas.
But if you're empathic,
But I always get asked that question. No, because it doesn't matter where you're at. If there's something attracted to your energies,
Not that, and they still do their protection though when they go in and so.
right?
yeah, and if you're empathic, you're gonna call
Yeah,
in spirits
that's-
wherever you're at too.
That's
so.
my problem.
I think it's a lot of people's problem nowadays.
You may go into a place that's not
haunted.
haunted, and now all of a sudden spirits are active because they found somebody they can talk to.
Sure,
Mm-hmm.
sure. I just walked out of the door coming here, and I saw my neighbor. I said to my neighbor, somebody tried to get inside my apartment,
Oh boy.
and I saw the indentation of where they,
Tried
take
to
like
jimmy
a,
it or something?
yeah. And she says, oh my gosh. And she says, we have spirits in our apartment. I says, yeah, I know. She looked at me, she goes, what? She said, well, I can't have this. I have children. Spirits don't care if they have children.
Think of the children!
Here, I know. And she says, no.
She's gonna be
Yes,
moving the
So
rest
what's
of
she
her
gonna
life.
do?
Yep.
Exactly.
And she said, right, because everywhere where I went, they followed me. I mean, they were wherever I was. And she says, yeah, the lights go on and off. I says, I know. I says, I just had that, happen to me last week. And he says, I'm sitting in my bedroom with my computer on to that, and all lights pitch black.
Did
So-
it turn them back on or did you have to
No.
get them to-
No, I had to get up, and I had to physically, go. I was like, like you're looking for your cell phone to get your flashlight, and wondering what you're gonna feel, as you're looking at it. It's like, please, is there something better you could do than this? Finally, I got the, and then I walked over to the kitchen, flipped the switch, came back, did it again. And I says, okay, this is, getting out of hand. Is there something wrong with the electricity? Is there something, did it bother me? I'm so used to this. It's like, anymore.
Do you ever speak out loud and say, okay, can you leave me alone now?
Actually, I haven't been. No.
I just
Not
wondered.
since Satan.
Right.
Yeah.
Not since Satan. Right. Yeah, I real pretty much,
That's what my pastor told me, is when you, because we also had somebody in our house, like it was bizarre too, but he said, don't ever talk to them. Just go about your business. He said, there's good spirits, there's evil spirits, and they're not hurting you, they're just throwing things around or doing stuff, Oh my gosh, this is like so bizarre.
But
I
you
knew
wanna
would
know-
like this. See,
You want to know, you have to remember one thing. These beings are just like you and I. But
as
they're
alive, so dead.
But they're more powerful.
Mm.
They're able to appear and disappear. They're able to go through walls. They're able to, and you know what? When we die, we will be like that.
So I was just gonna ask you,
Oh yeah.
what do you feel about when someone dies? Where do they go? Where does that soul go? Does it go to this level, to that level, before it gets up there? Because you can't get up there according to our religion, and
Well, the way that I answer questions is based on ancient scrolls. And so, because if we turn to things that we make up, we don't know whose truth, which is truth and which isn't. Okay, so ancient scrolls tell us, give us examples. To be absent from the bodies, to be present with the Lord. Okay. 2, we have the ancient scroll that talks about Lazarus, Father Abraham, and how when he died, he went up to the bosom, Lazarus went up to the bosom of Father Abraham. Then there was a rich man. They were corresponding. He was burning in hell. And the rich man said to Father Abraham, could you, just give me a little bit, could you send Lazarus down, put a little bit of water on my tongue, it's burning here, it's hot. And he said, no. Father Abraham said, no,